I think you mentioned you're trying to work with hardscapers and contractors building like water um fixtures or
Yeah, I kind of
what?
moved away from that. Thinking, I started doing analysis yesterday actually for power washers and taking that approach. The
Okay.
water tape stuff was super cool. It seemed too broad for me. And like you and I talked about, I can always pivot back to it later if I want to. But
Yeah.
it just you gotta freaking make a decision, right? I gotta pick one. And I'm like, you know what? What do power washers is home out there? And I'm gonna start there. So that's where I've landed.
Yeah. And what you can do too, like let me kind of give an illustration that should help you out. Like if you're really, really stuck with the industry selection, of course, there's a difference between what makes the most amount of sense versus practicality, right? So like if you remove the fact that we're humans, then like yeah, I could say, oh, just do this. And it's like, okay, cool, like just do that, right? But when you add the fact that we're human, like the approach, the hesitations, the, whatever becomes more difficult to understand. So what I recommend is if you're stuck with an industry, and I think from talking to you, you've mentioned some more blue collar home based services, right? So
Right.
pressure washing, water fixtures, plumbing, HVAC,
Yep.
even cleaning companies, anything where a someone is going to someone else's location. What I would recommend, and this is not going to be the most impactful, but it will be the most practical by far. What I would recommend is I would recommend having a general focus. Okay. So having this kind of a general focus. Now, we already know that your messaging is going to be watered down when you do this. The entire purpose of niching down is streamlined messaging or more targeted messaging and streamlined fulfillment. So you're going to lose a little bit of those, but we're losing those or we're sacrificing those temporarily in an attempt to figure out the niche we really want to work with so then we can reconnect with targeted messaging, streamlined fulfillment, right? So when you do this general focus, and let's say for you, you're just doing let's say blue collar, okay? Just for example's sake. So if you're thinking, okay, well I could do, pressure washers, or I could do, residential contractors, or maybe I want to do, lawn care, landscaping, hardscaping. But, I have a buddy who also is a plumber, and I have another buddy or my wife's buddy, her husband is an electrician, right? So what you can do initially starting out, and this is why I recommend when you're building your funnel, keep it lean. Like having such a simple funnel, some of the best funnels I've ever seen, you land on it, it's a title and a form, and that's it. Because again, the funnel itself, the landing page itself, it's where the decision takes place. It's not where the client or the prospect makes the decision to take action, right? So for example, when you see like what's the last couple of things that you bought, Brian? I'll pick on you since you made the mistake of showing up.
Yeah. Well, teach me how.
Right.
Um, so like major purchase, or just anything in general.
It could be major, it could be minor.
Okay. Some new carpet for a family room.
Okay, great. So when you saw when you were choosing carpet for the family room, that's kind of a long-term decision, right? Because you're gonna have to be
Yeah.
stuck with it. Probably wasn't the cheapest thing. So there's probably things you did and you wanted, boxes you wanted to check to make sure you liked it, right? Maybe you spoke with somebody, maybe you spoke with a salesman, maybe you didn't because you're like, I don't trust them, I know what I'm doing, right? Whatever the case may be, you had a process, a vetting process, boxes that you wanted to check, things you wanted to make sure you had in place, and things you probably wanted to completely avoid, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I've seen where people used to have like carpet in kitchens and bathrooms. That's crazy concept to me. So there's things that you want, there's things that you want to not be present or actively don't want, right? In that decision making process, what you're doing is going through and making the mental check boxes. You're not doing that at the cash register, right? You didn't go up to the cash register and say, this is what I want. Oh, here's where I buy it, right? You thought to yourself, maybe my carpet isn't nice, or it's not as nice as it could be, or maybe it's time for an upgrade. Maybe it looks a little outdated. Therefore, I need to go find carpet. Therefore, what's near me where I can find carpet? Once I find that, I go in person. Do I like this store? Do I like that store? Vet my options. From my options, do they meet my check boxes of things I like, things I don't like? Great. Now that I've done that, maybe run it by the spouse, right? Maybe run it by the kids, maybe run it by the dog. Hey, are you going to rub your back on this when you come in from the wet rain outside, right? From there, you say, cool, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to purchase. Now I'm going to go and check out, right? So the website, the landing page acts as that checkout. The only place that you will purchase and make the decision at the checkout is fast food. And even then you probably have an idea, right? But fast food is the only place where you pull up to the window that you're going to pay and you make your decision there as well, right? Or you can even argue in a drive-through, you make it at the menu because it looks good. Then you pull up and make the transaction. But the only place that you will ever see somebody purchase something at the checkout is an in-person fast food. So when we understand that, that's why I say keep the funnel lean, because if I have a one-page funnel and it is short, like I'm talking about, you click on it, the second you click on it, you see the whole thing top to bottom, that short. If I have title, call to action, form, guess what I can do if I change industries? Instead of me saying we help local blue-collar businesses, I can change that to say we help local plumbers, we help local electricians. All I have to do to repivot my entire brand is delete 1 to 2 words and type 1 to 2 words. And I've rebranded the whole thing, right? Think about if you built a whole 10-page website, and I've done this before, and then you realize your product is crap or your market is not targeted or you want to do something different. You've got to go and rebuild the whole thing. So now you're looking at another 5 to 10 days if you're efficient, 6 to 8 weeks if you're realistic, right? So that's why I say keep the funnel super lean, because nobody makes a purchasing decision there. That's just where they're taking action. So the purchase decision comes in content. So once we understand that the purchase decision comes in content, when you make your social media, that's where this comes into play. So this is the overall focus you make. And then your content has to be on this. So guess what you can do? You can make a piece of content on this, on this, on this, on this, and on this. And all of these still fall within what? Your brand.
Got it. So are you advocating it like that, or are you advocating maybe not niching down quite so finite initially and hitting the ground, running under the kind of blue collar umbrella versus plumber, electrician, hardscape, power washer? Is that kind of what you're saying? Or are you saying it's okay to pivot down the road? Yes.
But I'm saying both. So I'm saying if you have that lean funnel, it gives you the safety net of pivoting without having a tremendous amount of additional work. To start, I'd rather see you hit the ground running. And if it means watering down the process in some way, shape, or form, but that allows you to proceed, you will eventually, like I'll tell you right now, within a few months, you'll come to me and you'll say, fulfilling for multiple people is a nightmare. It's a headache. But you'll have to do that to come to the conclusion through your own personal experience of saying, who did I enjoy the most working with? Where did I have the biggest impact? Where do I have the most powerful, attractive case studies? So through that painful period, relatively painful, right? We're talking about making money online. Through that relatively painful period, it will help you uncover the decision. So let's look at the scenario, right? In that scenario, you're getting paid to learn. You're still learning VA management. You're still learning all these different aspects of the business. You're not making as much money as fast as you could, but again, you have to overcome certain mental barriers to really uncover the truth. Because if I told you right now, you'll make the most amount of money working with just electricians, because nobody comes to me about electricians and they have a good money and blah, blah, blah. If I just told you do that and run with it, if you could shut off the part of your body, your brain that says I'm a human, the voices in your head that are going to come up, the thoughts in your head that are going to come up and say, well, what about this? What about that? Right? You basically, like, if we're quoting like Anakin from the Ahsoka series, right? You lack conviction. I need you to have that kind of conviction. And through those mistakes, through that experience, through those wins and losses, you'll have that conviction. Once that conviction comes in, it'll quiet every other voice to where you can really focus. So essentially, you're making money by failing forward, and then you'll learn how to make money a little faster, and you'll have assets to help you do that. And again, the whole time, think about it, it's not a waste of time, because you're making content, you're learning how to make content, you're doing a little bit better, you're building out your assets, you're working with VAs, you're still working at it, right? It's the only issue, the only holdup is that your case studies will have less momentum, your targeting messaging, or your messaging will be a little less targeted, which means you move a little slower, your client fulfillment will move in a little bit slower. That's it. Down the road, if I wanted you to handle 50, 60, 100 clients, it's going to be way easier having them all in the same industry. But in the sense of you are a human being, you have to learn you have to progress through failure, this would be the better way to go. And I've had people come to me in two scenarios. One where they go, and here's the funny part. It's almost a lack of intelligence that's better, right? If you can turn off your brain, it's almost like a lack of intelligence paired with too much confidence, right? It's almost like they're dumb and overconfident, right? That's actually more beneficial because you're too dumb to question yourself and you're so confident that you're like, oh, I picked this, I'm going to crush it, right? That's the person who's going to start and learn further down the road and faster as they go. On the other hand, the people who are overly intelligent, the people who are trying to make sure everything is perfect the first time around, and I see this all the time. They come to me, they go, I've been in your program, and this is different from you because I know we've spoken and you have other things going on. But I've had people come to me who have no job, no nothing, and they've been stuck in the program for 4, 6, even 13 months. And they're like, I'm stuck. What are you stuck on? Niche selection for 13 months. And I'm like, why not just find anybody? And that's why I say in the content, right? Do you have somebody close to you that has a business? Cool. That's the one you're working with. Because it's a matter of how can I learn to monetize that market as fast as possible. If you're like me, right? We're hair challenged, okay? If you had somebody in your family who was working with hair salons and you could master that market and you could walk away from that within 2 years making $100K a month, I promise you're going to love hair salons. You might even do your own commercials where you're sitting in the booth with the thing over the head and curlers and your non-existent hair, right? And like making funny ads because you're going to love making the money. As long as it's ethical, it's moral, it doesn't contradict your values as a human being, right? So the industry really is just a tool to have targeted messaging and faster fulfillment. The industry, the niche is really just a tool. The way we select it is what's the tool that we can monetize the fastest, the deepest, the most impactful. Because even if theoretically I could say, hey, you're going to monetize hair salons and you'll make $100K a month within 2 years, maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. But the hurdle now becomes, why would that industry want to work with you, right? So a lot of people go like, oh, what industry do I want to pick? And it's like, listen, this isn't like picking a Pokemon. This is not level 1 of your Nintendo DS Pokemon game, right? You're not Ash Ketchum. This is more like, if you've ever seen Harry Potter, where he goes to pick out his wand, and he's like, what about that one? And then the guy pulls out the wand, and the wand, like, he tries to use it, and the wand's like, nah, it doesn't work, and it goes sideways, right? It's more like that. Like it's not necessarily a person. It's not like dating, but it's more like, is this one going to work? Let me try it. Nope, didn't work. Let me try this one. Nope, it didn't work. Oh, this one worked really well. Cool. This one blew up in my face. Great. Don't use it. Right. That's what niche selection is more like.
Okay, so in that scenario, going back to what you said when we first started off, you're not doing custom plans for Brian, Simon, and Danny. We're doing it on our own. But with what you just said too, if I can maybe force your hand a little bit.
Yeah, that's what these calls are for. That's where I want you to make it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then in that scenario, if we're talking about, maybe, hey, Mungo, don't go super niche right now, keep it a little higher level. If you, Alec, were Brian Mungo right now, and you're kind of picking that niche, what's your mission statement? What's your, we do this for voodoo?
Yeah, perfect.
I ramp around, I do this for power washers, or I do this for plumbers.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about a higher level approach, I do what for who? How do we verbalize and articulate that, I guess?
Yeah. So, and this is where the antithetical claim process comes into play.
Yeah, right.
And so, and we can even do this live. And if other people, by the way, if you guys have questions that have nothing to do with this, drop them in the chat because I want to answer all the questions. But these are really good learning experiences where a lot of people get stuck. So this is the flow chart, right? So once we pick the niche selection, from here, we have to determine the offer. We do X for who without ABC, right? And Hormozy has a really good course online. Acquisition.com is that course where he talks about the $1 million offers, $1 million leads. And that's where he kind of covers on this. I take it a step further by making it antithetical. So when I first built this out, I basically took Hormozy's and I said, how would I apply Hormozy's to high-level agencies working in automation and local marketing? So I took it to like a painfully detailed level, right? So I really, really niched down. But for this, right? So let's say we pick a niche. From the niche, we have the offer. The offer is based on the 3-pronged market analysis or reverse tried market analysis, which is your competitor, market, and avatar. And we can do this with any industry. If you want to give me one, we can run with that one. If you don't have one, we can take someone else's and we can run with it. But all we're going to do in this is we're going to say, what is our competition doing? What do we like that they're doing? What do we dislike that they're doing? And then from there, that helps us create the offer starting out. Then we take that offer and we need to apply it in a little bit of a litmus test, or a better way to look at it is think of like a control group where like you've heard like marketing companies, they're like, oh, we brought in like a little control group and we tested, this tested really well. And for some reason now I have Easter egg Reese's cups, right? And people love it, or you know what I mean? Like that's where those things come from, testing in those small groups before they go wide. That's essentially what the avatar analysis is. And then the market analysis is just figuring out the actual deliverables. What does a good website look like for a plumber, for an electrician? What does it look like? What is nice in terms of UI UX, right? User experience, user interface. And I'll do this right now with you guys too. So if you guys have a industry you want me to use, I'll start, Brian, see if you have one that you want me to use. If not, we'll see if somebody else has one.
I'm happy opening up the group and saying what the rest of the guys want to talk about too. Yeah. I mean, me, I'm looking at pressure washing and blue collar services in general, but rest of the guys, what are you looking at?
Bookkeeping.
Say that again. You cut out a little bit, Danny.
Bookkeeping.
Okay, so we got pressure washing, bookkeeping. What else do we have?
You know me, I like residential contractors.
Residential contractors. Okay. Any other industries that we want to cover? And this is another step this is why I wanted to go back and remake the reverse trend market training on the YouTube series to make it a little bit more simplified and a little bit more clear, concise, and applicable. Then if you get stuck there, go into the SASO University training where it goes way more in depth. You have that full checklist. But let's just go ahead and let's start with pressure washers, and then we'll go to accounts, and then we'll go to residential contractors. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm typing, I'm not even sharing my screen. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to look at what the competition is offering. So I'm going to do pressure washers, and I'll just say marketing agency. Okay. So now what I want to look at is so these people are ranking for these. All right. Right. They're paying to rank for these. You see sponsored, paid, 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 paid. And then we come here, not paid, organic. So I want to look at a few of these, and then I want to look at my organic, right? Now, this will show you how many times I've done this. I will be surprised if more than half of the sponsored listings are specific to pressure washing. If I've done this before, which I have, and I probably need to go outside and touch more grass, what you'll see is that these are going to be very generic marketing companies that are just trying to rank one page for one thing. So let's start with market hire, right? How much more generic of a name could we get? So what I'm seeing here, and I'm going to look up here. Let's see. Basically what I'm looking at up here is for the word like pressure washing or some kind of ranking thing in here, which sometimes they do. Nope. Okay. So what they're doing here is this is just 1%. So it pops up. So you might think it's connected, but let's control find. Just proving my point here. Pressure, not even up there, right? So they're ranking for it. They're paying to rank for it or appear for it with PPC. And yet from there, they're not even on this. So I'm not even going to give them the time of day for now. We can come back. Let's see Hawkeye Media. Control F, pressure. Nope. All right, let's go back again. Nope, I already know this company. I can already tell you no, they don't. Number one, they have it in the name. Let's see. Pressure washing. That's cool. So they've actually got one, right? Clean marking. So for pressure washing. Okay. So from here, I want to look at what are they offering? So here's what we're going to do. Ready? Everybody watch the screen. Just trust me on this. All right. I'm going fast on purpose. Perfect. And now I'm going to stop sharing. Right. Just from that, what did you guys like and dislike about the website?
I accidentally caught a couple of pressure washing words, but it didn't look like anything really specific to pressure washing.
Okay.
Very long, a lot of words, very word heavy, on a negative side and a positive side. And I know that site 'cause I've been analyzing it for the last 24 hours.
Sweet.
But if you have some good videos and stuff on there, which is to their positive.
Yeah. Simon, I know you have something. Don't hold back on me.
Actually, I was going to say word heavy. You stole the words out of my mouth.
Okay.
I do like I like that they're really on brand. They've got a good colors.
Yeah.
The layout is a little tight for me.
Yeah. It feels like I'm looking at a tabloid almost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So guess what we just did? Just from that, you saw how fast we did that. How fast did that take to scroll? Was that like 10 seconds? So if I'm helping Brian with this, because he did the pressure washing, I'm going to say too much text heavy. So let's get rid of the text heavy. Let's restructure so it's not as tight, right? Maybe a little bit more spacing, a little bit more flow, maybe a slightly bigger font. I'm not a fan of italics in the titles. It makes it look old newspaper-ish. What did you actually like? Well, the pictures are a little outdated too. What did you actually like? You like the videos at the end. I like the 3-step process, so I'll go ahead and share my screen again. I always love when there's a 3-step process where it's from their point of view, right? Number one, what do? You schedule a call. Number two, you get a quote. We start the work. Number three, you see the results. It's from their point of view. You could have a 99,000 step process. They have 3 steps. They book a call. You get the scope of the work. You start working, and they let you know if they like or don't like it, right? And then like you said, I did like the videos at the end. Form isn't bad, but this black and orange and dark blue combo is not it, right? I'm not a fan of that. So the colors aren't great. Text heavy, a little congested. So right there, those are things that you don't like about the website to change for your website. And you figured out the things you do like to keep in your website. That's it. I like these 3 steps. So guess what I'm going to do on my website? I'm going to keep 3 steps. Now let's look at, so this is just the layout. Let's look at now and this is like way too text heavy. Yeah, I agree. But now from here, let's look at what they're actually offering. So let's look at their actual process. So right away, I see pressure washing ads. I see Google ads. I see blog, contact us, pressure washing SEO. So we see Facebook, Google, SEO. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to look at their ads, right? I don't know how many, Brian, you may know this because you've been studying the website. I can read like a freak. So I'm just going to read through this extremely quickly. Font, look at this red font. It looks really bad. They're trying to do something with their hyperlinks because they have too much of a blue background. It just doesn't look great. And these images, I know these stock images, really, really bad. I bet you this is high level because we just saw this, and I'll show you how to confirm that in just a moment. It's too generic. Community engagement, market segmentation, retargeting is good. So this is telling you, they are openly telling you what they're doing. They're not even hiding it, right? We want to get engagement. We're going to segment the market. We're going to retarget. We're going to use viral marketing, which no, you're not, because that's so much pressure. Imagine for me to say, go make a viral ad. That's a lot of pressure. Monitor KPIs. All of the images are stock, which tells you they don't have their own images, which tells you they may not have done this as many times as they'd like to appear, or they're just not as good. If you're a marketing company and this is what your website looks like, yeesh, right? Repositioning, exploring new markets. So it's just very generic copy, right? Automation. What does that have to do with anything unless you're automating the lead follow-up? Okay, so they do automated posts. Okay, cool. Let's go to SEO. Generic pictures, text heavy. So with the text heavy person, I can already tell you this individual is probably extremely technically intelligent, but they're struggling to market, they're struggling to position. So that's what they're trying to say. Here's everything we do. Like, don't we look smart kind of thing, right? And again, I'm being harsh on them on purpose. And if they were reviewing my content, I'd want them to be harsh too. You can ask Simon. Simon's in the chat. I just sent him a document to review with me, and I just told him rip it apart. And he was the 3rd person I asked to rip it apart. So I want it to be tough. So I'm not just hating on them for no reason. Here's our methodology: free consultation, improve performance, research keywords, optimize SEO. So this is all generic stuff. Okay. So now what we've got to do, we've understand their concept a little bit. Again, how long did I just spend doing that? What were we going to say? Like 2 or 3 minutes, right? So again, you see how fast it's going. What did you guys notice that they're offering? What did you notice in terms of how they're offering it? Give me your feedback. We'll start with Brian, and then we'll see if anyone else wants to answer. But what did you see in terms of offer that you liked about the offer or disliked? Now, when I ask this, I'm going to preface it. I don't want you to answer what you think I'm looking for. I want you to speak from your preference. Like, if you like something that you think everybody else will hate, but you like it, lean on that.
Well, I like that they're very clear up front about what they're offering. They call it out very quickly and easily. You know, from an SEO perspective, having in the nav bar like that probably isn't the greatest, but it makes it easy to kind of see what they're offering. Frankly, with these guys, it's more that I dislike than I like. Not to be overly harsh. It is nice that they're kind of layering out. I suffer from that same sickness as well, where I want to just verbal diarrhea in everybody and tell them what we're going to give them, and just that's going to wow them and make them sign up, right? Because, oh my gosh, you're getting so much, but that's not how that actually works.
Right.
I have to fight that as well. So I recognize that sickness. Wasn't much I like, to ask Alec.
Yeah. What about you guys, Danny, Simon, or Grant?
think it just looked like the same thing everybody else offers. So now the first thing I go is like, well, what's the lowest price?
Right. So check this out. So price becomes a differentiator. Danny, what did you mean by it looks like what everybody else is offering? You're right, but give me a little bit
It's
more.
just, SEO ads, very generic terms. Is that SEO any different?
Right.
If it's the same SEO I'm getting in my emails that say I can get it for $100 a month, so and then that's where I kind of, look at the wording stuff, because the more wording, hey, wait, that's definitely different than the other guy, but I'm not sure people will read all that either.
Bingo.
So it's kind of, say, great, I do quote unquote real SEO, but there's no way for me to get that across without, changing the name and calling it something different.
Exactly. So the challenge becomes, how do I differentiate? How do I create my own unique selling proposition? And Danny said exactly what I wanted, what I was looking for. You're only offering the same thing everyone else is offering. Now the question becomes, so when I answer that, what's the next question become? So he's offering the same thing everyone else is offering. What's the next question, logically speaking?
Why are you different?
Why are you different, or what else?
Price.
Well, price is would answer why are you different. So yeah, price could go under what Simon said. But your only next questions are going to be, why are you different as a consumer point of view? But what about for you as an agency owner? If I say, hey, they're offering everything else that everyone else is offering, what do you think as an agency owner?
It means they're a generalist.
It means they're a generalist, but it also means, or what it causes me to think is, well, if they're offering what everyone else is offering and that stuff works, well, what am I supposed to offer? Because
Exactly.
I'm going to do ads. I'm going to do SEO. I'm going to do website automations. Here's the difference.
You sell the outcome, you do like the system, like step
Okay.
one, we do this. Remember
There
how
you go.
you changed up my funnel when we were working on it? Because I was getting too into what we were actually doing, as opposed to being like, step one, you sign up with us and we get on a call. Step two, we start generating you customers. And step three, all you have to do is sit back and answer phone calls and contact forms.
Right, which
Yeah,
is
that
why
makes-
that's what I liked what they were doing. So that's exactly why I liked it, because if you want to make good copy, it's what, in what order, and why. So you have to mandate. So a lot of people say the what and the why. Look at what they're doing. We're going to do SEO. Why is SEO good? Because it does this, it does this. But there's no order. The structure is the selling point. It becomes your unique selling proposition. So if I come to you and I say, what are we doing, in what order, and why? Now we have a process. So if they don't have a structure and we don't like that they don't have a structure, we then villainize the fact that they don't have a structure. Now, you're not going to say, oh, our website has fewer words. Who cares? I mean, we care because we know how that converts, but the client doesn't care. The client cares, is this going to work? Again, if I want to, let's say, build a house, or let's be even more simple. I've never done this myself. Brian, have you ever built like a birdhouse, or maybe worked on okay, cool. Let's say birdhouse, just because I'm pretty sure they let kids do that at Home Depot, and yet I've never done it. So birdhouse, right? What are the tools you would need to construct a birdhouse?
Hammer, saw, nails, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Perfect. What is the focus of what we're doing when we're building a birdhouse? What are we trying to do?
Give a house to a bird.
There you go. So it doesn't matter if we're using a hammer from, let's say, a DeWalt hammer, or a, whatever generic brand, or maybe the hammer you found in your garage, right? It doesn't matter. What happens is when you lose sight of the outcome, you start doubling down on the tools. You start doubling down on the delivery mechanism. Again, if I were to come into someone's business and I were to do a rain dance and it made them so much money ethically, within ethics and morals that they have and that you have and that you should adhere to, they're not going to care. So it's the equivalent of saying, I built you a birdhouse with my bare hands, versus, well, I have the best hammers and the nails and the screws. And it's like, yeah, but he just built the birdhouse. That's all I needed. I don't care how it's done. Just give it to me. Right? So when you have a structure, what you're saying is, this is the goal outcome we're going to get you. And now you're going to position yourself as more intelligent, as a higher perceived expert, as a better SME, as a more efficient professional. However you look at it, you're perceived higher. You have higher status because you're saying, this is what we're going to help you do. This is the exact way we're going to help you do it. This is the outcome that's gotten for other people. So we can expect similar results for you. I can't guarantee it because of market yada, 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 but these are the similar results we can hope to expect, right? What does it look like for you? Let's say you're interested in the results. Cool. Step 1, book a call. Step 2, we meet up. We get all the things we need. We keep you posted. We build everything out. Step 3, you sit back. We generate you clients. We monitor everything. We let you know how it goes. If there's things that you don't like, guess what? You don't touch the system. You tell me, I will do it all for you, right? If you wanted your car fixed on, there's 2 types of people. There's the guy who's going to get under the car himself, or there's the guy who's going to take it to the garage. We want the guys who take it to the garage. If you're a DIY guy, why would I try to convince you to be a done-for-you guy? Like Brian, is there anything that you could pay someone else to do, but you will do it yourself every time because you're not going to waste your money on it?
Well, yeah, stick it in the car van. I can change my own oil. I can change my own brakes, but I don't have time for it, you know?
Right. What is
Yeah.
something that you refuse to pay for? Like, would you say you refuse to pay for an oil change?
No, I'll pay for an oil change. I will have my yard mowed. How about that? I'm mowing my own
Perfect.
yard.
And I've never mowed my own lawn, and I never.
Yeah.
So Brian's a DIY guy. There's no sense in trying to convince him. Unless I come to him and say, I'll do it for you for free, I'm not going to convince him. And if I do it for him for free and I mess up his flower bed, or if I don't mow it the right way, or maybe the stripes look off, I'm never coming back, even though it's free. Because some people want certain things done a certain way. There's nothing wrong with that. I will always pay for my lawn mowed. I don't care if it doesn't go well or not, because I don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to waste my time doing it. I'll never move again. My wife and I moved every year since the time we were together. I think we had 1 year where we stayed in the same place for 2 years. I'll never do it again. I don't care how much money it is. I will pay extra to never move again, right? So when you have that process and you explain it, when you make your content and you overshare value, the DIY guys and gals will always be DIY guys and gals. The DFY guys and gals will always be DFY guys and gals. Now, sometimes they'll think, maybe I can do it on my own, or maybe I'll pay someone else, and they'll try to deviate from who they are. They'll almost always will return unless your content is really, really good at explaining, don't touch it, let us do it. That's a really big ask. The better way to say is, listen, you don't want, so let's talk about being antithetical to this company. And I know we're ripping them apart. I'm sure they're good at what they do. If they ever see me, sorry, be better. Maybe you can watch the video and apply. But if I'm going against them, what I'm going to say is stop working with people who let you pick what you want to do. And you're like, wait, what? Stop doing that. There's a reason why you don't let a toddler dress themselves, right? Let's say you're going to Easter Sunday. You letting a toddler dress themselves? No. We got pictures to take, right? You wearing this, screaming in the car, be nice at church, right? You got photo day at school. I don't care. You're wearing, I don't know, corduroy pants or whatever, right? The point is, don't work with someone who lets you do what you want to do. You need to work with somebody who has a proven process that works every single time. And what does that process look like? I've already built it out for you. Step 3, right? Step 3 in the video, in the YouTube series. You have to have, there's the client retention system. We got to make sure you can sustain clients before we give you clients. Then we have to generate clients. To generate clients, that's usually pretty expensive. So let's start with a past contact list. Let's run a database activation or database reactivation. So activation would be the first time, then reactivation would just be keep doing it, right? Tomato, tomato, DBA, DBR. That will bring in clients. That will generate you cash flow to now then spend on paid traffic, PPC, LSA, Facebook retargeting. As that's going, we run SEO in the background because SEO takes a little bit, but we don't want to wait on SEO. So it might take 1 or 2 months. It might take 8 to 12 months, depending on how competitive the area is. But now you've got a DBR, which you can do occasionally depending on the offer. So if you're doing pressure washing, you could probably do that every 3 or 4 months, at least once a summer. If you have someone like accountants, right? I can run a DBR every tax season, or if I know that businesses have to file K1s every quarter, I can do it every quarter. Like, hey, let us do it. Bookkeeping's every month. Hey, let us do it, right? Different clients can have different segmentations. If I'm working with residential contractors, hey, let's get your outdoors looking nice for summer. So let's go ahead and run a DBR or promotion in the winter, right? Let's make sure it's all built out by then. So it's all about understanding your industry to understand what to actually give them. But the overall process doesn't change too much. It's a DBR. Hey guys, you paid with me before. You're more than likely going to be the ones to pay with me again. Or at the bare minimum, if you're happy with me, can you give me reviews? And that's going to increase your organic ranking. From there, money goes to PPC, LSA, paid traffic, even flyers if you want, right? And then from there, the SEO should start to kick in a little bit more aggressively because you're having a higher CTR, more reviews, yada, yada, yada. the organic is going up, you're trying to rank for more keywords, and then you can decide, do I want to keep or pull the paid traffic generation? That's it. And what's interesting is if you look at their website, they're doing ads, they're doing Google, they're doing SEO. They're missing DBR and the pressure retention system, but I guarantee you he probably can build it all for you. But it's a matter of understanding from start to finish what the client wants, and then reverse engineering it, and then putting rubber to road and saying, "Ooh, my process failed here, adjust. My process failed here, adjust. My process did really well here, double down, go to old clients. Hey, we did this for him. He liked it. You want me to put it in here for you for free? I would love that. Also, by the way, could we start running ads?" Happens all the time. So I'm
Can
going
I-
to a little bit. Let me see what questions you guys have.
Okay. Well, I'll shut up for a second.
No, you're good. You're good. I've been talking a while. You guys have, I'm sure you guys have questions.
Well, just real quick, you mentioned a 4-letter word, which still use only 3, but which is DBRs, database reactivations. And again, you and I have talked about that in the past. Have you been having success moving those from SMS over to email because of A2P, all that kind of restrictions?
With the
How's that
DBA,
looking?
yeah,
What's
with
that?
the DBA, it's almost entirely SMS.
How are we doing that though in a post A2P restrictions world where you got double opt-ins and all that kind of crap? Like, that's just a big question. That's kind of why I'm where I am right now, because I was doing DBRs for forever. And the last year A2P went down, and now I'm just scared shitless to get sued or my client get sued. So it's a big topic for me. And that's probably an hour-long conversation on its own. But
No, it's actually pretty simple. And I may be
Okay.
even overly simplifying it, but think about this. Number one, are you the only company in the world who's facing A2P restrictions?
No, of course.
So everyone's facing that. So when it comes to maybe the talk off when handling a client, hey, you don't have to go to me, but you go to anyone else. And here's what you're doing. You're restarting the application process. So for example, let's say the application process some people get applied in 2 days, some 7 days, some 30 days, some fail, right? That process doesn't start until you pick somebody to start applying for you or you start applying yourself. So they shop around because you're like, oh, hey, it could be from here to here. Let's say they leave Brian, they go to Simon. Guess what Simon's going to tell them? The same thing. They leave Simon, they go to Danny. Danny's going to tell them the same thing. They leave Danny to go to Grant. I'll do it myself. It's going to be the same answer no matter what. So when it comes to the timeline or the restriction, it's a necessary evil in terms of like reducing spam, but everyone is hit with that. So that's a beneficial talking point, right? You don't have to let me do it, but I promise you, no matter where you go, you're going to hit that talking point. Number two, if you're talking about the setup, what I would do is I would recommend including it in your setup fee, or you could do it for free if they commit to 12 months. So have some kind of way to ensure longevity and then do your application. There's several people who, even in our community, SAD, he can get applied very, very quickly. And there's a few other people. If you talk to Jacob with WashWiz or Property Pros Network, he just changed the name. He that's what he does. Every client he gets, here's what he does for his promo. He does a DBR. He signs them up for the A2P. He does it for $300 to $500. They run the campaign. It gets the money. Then they pay his full setup fee, which is $3,500. From there, he goes into the traditional stuff.
Yeah, he and I are actually talking this morning. It isn't the application. I've done tons of those applications and actually got pretty good at getting through them. It's more of the legalistic issue behind it of assuming you scrub out a list to a DNC and make sure you don't have DNC on the list. You're still the person you're texting. If I was a power wash company and Alec, you were my customer, and you didn't to hit that radio button to sign up for that double opt-in to say, yes, I want to receive marketing messages from Brian Mungo's Power Washing. Potentially, I'm open to litigation. And as an agency, as a service provider, there could be a lawsuit. And that's what got me kind of freaked out. That's not the efforts, not the how to, that part that you've done on
Good.
PR for years. It's the legal stuff now that has the kind of.
Yeah. So when that campaign came into effect, did you look at what they were recommending for people who had a previous list or active list of clients?
My research, it seems gray at best.
Yeah. So what I would recommend, and I'm not saying play ignorant, but if they gave those clients that list, right? And this is something I tell them, if you have a list of clients, I am going to trust you that those clients actually willfully gave you their number. I will not take your client list if you went and scraped numbers off of a local lead gen source, because here's what's going to happen. Liability. So you can let them know yourself, you can painfully explain these are the things to avoid. Another example would be, and this doesn't apply to you, but just for general purposes, another example would apply to high risk markets, alcohol, marijuana, firearms. If you use certain words in the text messaging, you're going to lose your account instantly.
Yeah.
And so I've seen where people say, hey, don't use these words. And then what does the client do? They go and use it. They lose the account and they go, well, you lost my account. It's like, no, here's the conversation. I told you not to do it. You did it. So I wouldn't want to say, so technically you're passing the pressure off to the client in a way. And I'm not saying you're saying, oh, take all the blame, take all the brunt of the troubles. What I'm saying is make sure that the client painfully understands that this is the process. Here are the concerns. This is why I need to verbally ensure from you, or even get them to send you a message, that this list that you're going off of are people who actively gave their numbers, are active clients, right? And then, of course, in your initial message, put, hey, stop to not apply. So if someone were to sue, then your client can say, listen, they gave me their number before these registration and laws came into place, and they had no problem with that, right? Now, if they scraped it and if they lied about it, then yeah, they're gonna get hit with that.
Yeah.
Alex.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it.
Alex, so I had a client like months ago. I helped him for like a few months with starting his own like barbershop, and then he went over to Booksy because I was kind of done with I was barely charging him because he's was my friend. I was like, yeah, just use Booksy for now. Often he was just a pain in the ass. But basically when I first got started with him, I recommended a DVR to his, clients to promote his new location and stuff. And he actually ended up, I don't know how this guy that worked with him left the barbershop they were at too to start their own thing. And his buddy got a hold of the barbershop's franchise CRM contacts and then gave them to my client. And then my client sent me over all those contacts from this company's CRM.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, dude, you cannot use this. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is not from your phone. I'm like, it says the franchise corporate on the top of the spreadsheet. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm not touching any of these contacts. You have to give me a list. You have to manually make one from your phone. It was just insane. I'm like, he did not even think anything of it.
Yeah,
that's stealing data. I'm like, you remember when Mark Zuckerberg got tried for this? You're doing the same thing right now.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
And that's where I always tell people don't take the quick cash when people come to you doing sketchy stuff. But yeah, that would be what I always recommend is and there's legal concerns over anything you do. People, I mean, especially in the United States, I can sue you for anything, absolutely anything. You could, anybody could sue me for absolutely anything, right? That's just how the United States is when it comes to those kind of actions. So the best thing that you can do is be honest and maintain those boundaries. So educate the client. Hey, here are the considerations that you want to have, right? Blah, 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 blah. Liabilities. Here's the things. If you can adhere to what I'm telling you, we can move forward. If something goes sideways and it turns out that you didn't listen to what I said, I'm not defending you, and I'm definitely firing you, right? Because this is my reputation on the line as much as it is yours.
Yeah, and I educated on him. He goes, oh, well, that actually makes sense because the buddy who took the contacts actually got a email from the owner, the corporate owner, and said if you message one more of our fucking clients, I'm gonna sue you and stuff. And I was I'm like, did that not ring off any red flags in your head, Benaya? What? It was just ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things I like doing about this way is being just overly honest, right, to a fault. I'll turn down money if it's a nightmare client because that's just gonna be the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
So
but also probably try to put something in writing that you told them.
Yeah.
Tell them on a form or whatever and have them sign it and kind of hold you harmless. That way they can't bring you into anything because, oh, he said I can do it. Because they just drag you in and then you're stuck with it. But if you do some sort of hold harmless agreement, that should
You can
make
even
it
do-
harder for them to do it.
Yeah, you can put in an agreement. You can even I do everything through text. Text message is fully admissible in court. Text, Facebook, WhatsApp, they're fully encrypted means of communication. You can definitely use those. If you say that and they're like, oh no, you can go through those messages, screenshot that and be like, cool, I have my confirmation. So that would be what I recommend, Brian, if you're concerned with it. and then just painfully hit it home. Like if that's a big concern from you or for you, translate that to the client. Be like, listen, we got to be really careful with how we do this. Now, these work exceptionally well. We just need to be careful. Here's how we make sure we're careful. If you're on one person, get rid of them. Because I'd rather you lose one potential client versus add one additional potential lawsuit, right? And then just say, moving forward, here's how we're going to do it. And you can say, moving forward, I don't want to see a single phone number in this account that does not go through this form or that form or whatever, right? And then you can build forms for them and mobile apps, right? All those are not mobile apps, mobile versions of funnels, send it over to them, they fill it out.
Well, so Jake and I were talking this morning is as marketers, as true marketers, as business owner, that on us to figure out how do we make their list compliant, right? So like, how do we help that business owner make sure his list is kosher going forward? And that's a challenge, but
yeah,
I think, it's on us if we're going to be, our big boy pants on to figure that out.
Yeah. And what I always do for that is I always painfully educate them, like meticulously educate them on the process. And I educate them on what's going to happen if I find out that they're willfully misleading me or misguiding me. And I'm pretty firm from the very beginning because that's going to set up really healthy boundaries. And again, that ties back into, I have a process that you need to follow. Otherwise, I don't want to work with you. And that's what separates you from someone who wants a la carte. A la carte people, they go, like think about it. If I said, hey, take scissors and cut here, shave here, do this, get the back of the neck, right? And then the haircut comes out and go, oh, that's awful. And he's like, I did exactly what you said. Versus, hey, can you give me, whatever buzz cut, or can you give me like a high fade, low fade, skin tight fade, right? Burst fade, maybe I want dreads, maybe I want, box strays, right? If I say, here's what I want, let them, the professional, do it, right? So you don't want someone coming in telling you how to do everything or every little thing they want. You want to figure out, okay, you need a drill. What do you need a drill for? Okay, you're trying to build a birdhouse. We have birdhouses already put together for cheaper than the drill you're about to buy. Would that interest you? Yes? Great. No? Okay, what are you trying to do? Okay, you're trying to set up a workshop for kids to learn how to build birdhouses. Cool. Here's everything that I'd recommend. Also, you might want to have some kind of accident insurance and yada, yada, yada. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that, right? So you can figure out, and that comes from the conversations, which I have detailed in step 8 and even the modified close step 7. So when someone inbound DMs me, what do we do? And people talk about like, well, I want to build a relationship, but you also don't want to spout off the wrong stuff. So what do? Where are you? Where do you want to be? What have you tried to get there? 3 to 5 minutes of value, push to call. It's the most efficient way to do it. And it's still relationship based, and you still figure out, can I or can I not help you? If somebody says, I'm making 0 and I want to sell my company for 7 figures by the end of the year, I can't help you. But if someone's like, I'm making 3,000, 4,000 a month, I'm trying to get to 10,000 a month by the end of the year, I've got previous case studies, perfect, let's go, right? And that just comes from the conversation. So for you, when you're saying, where are you? Well, I'm here. Where do you want to go? I want to take my business here. What have you tried before? And they don't say SEO, or maybe they say SEO, but it was done a different way because it wasn't in a process, and they've never done DBR. Cool. When it comes to your value add, you're going to say, cool, this is what we do. Number one, we want to do this, this, and this. We want a client retention system. We want a client acquisition system. For the retention system, we build a website, automations, pipeline, calendar. We build it all out to your specifications. From there, we're going to start with the DBR. I'm going to set you up with this. Part of that value add is going to be, listen, we got to do it a really careful way. So we can't just be texting anybody willy-nilly. Explain your concerns. And then we take that money, we run it into this, the PPC LSA, we run it into SEO, right? So now you have a proven process, which of course, they're going to see you as so much more intelligent. And in your copy, it's the same thing. Don't do what they're doing. Do it this way. And you don't have to say, clean marketing, screw them, I can't stand that guy, right? Don't name them. Just be like, listen, don't do this and describe what they're doing. Do this instead, right? So like if I'm saying like workout, if I'm talking about like fitness examples, I would say, listen, don't do cardio before your weightlifting. Do your weightlifting and then your cardio after. If you want to do cardio before weightlifting, I would do it in the morning, weightlifting in the evening. So right there, I'm saying this is how I do it. That could be contradictory to how other people tell you. And you may pick that up when you hear me say, don't do it this way. Old way bad, right? Why is that bad? Well, if you do cardio before weightlifting, it's going to impact your strength, and then you're going to be weaker. And then, you see what I'm saying? I just go on and on and on. And then why should I do it this way? Well, now you're stronger. Now you get better benefits. Your muscles better. Your definition's better. You're more healthier, more energy. You're still getting the cardiovascular benefits. It's not that you can't do cardio. It's just when to do cardio. It's like, oh, okay, that guy is smart. And even if I'm completely wrong, all of you probably just said, oh, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I could be talking out the side of my mouth, right? So it's the same exact thing. And when you take that approach, immediately everybody who's ever shopped a la carte pressure washing marketing services is going to be attracted to you. So if they've shopped it and it didn't go well, you're basically telling them, hey, the reason it didn't go well is because you got to pick what you wanted. You don't know what you're doing. How you run a pressure washing company. Why are you telling marketers how to market your company? If you knew how to market your company, guess what? You would just market it. You wouldn't go to somebody. And the only way that somebody will relinquish control, think about this. Do you have kids, Brian?
Yeah, true.
Okay. Did you ever hire a babysitter?
Sure.
Or maybe mother-in-law, father-in-law, parents?
Sure.
Cool. Why did you feel confident that they could watch your child, especially your first, right? Because I had my first. She's almost a year and a half. So I know with the first, you're especially like, right? Why did you ever trust anyone to watch the first kid?
Because there was familiarity, or someone said that they were good or trustworthy, and or I knew the person.
There was certain things in place that gave you the comfort in relinquishing control.
Correct.
It didn't mean that you weren't thinking about it every 2 minutes when you went out to dinner that first time, but you were confident enough to even do it.
Sure.
When you're making your content and you're taking this antithetical structured approach, so you're opposite and you have an exact process that you do not deviate from. Yes, there's things you manipulate, but there's an exact process you don't deviate from. You give them enough confidence to put their baby in your control for that evening. And then if you do a good job and you proactively check in with them, what happens? They sit back and they relax, and they are more likely to hire you a second time to watch their kid, a third time, a fourth time. By the fifth time, they don't even care. Oh, Brian's here. We're heading out. Have fun. Let me know if you need anything. Right?
No, it's trust. Yeah.
Right. But the first time you hire that sitter, okay, he goes down like this and he goes down like that. And he wants his binky. If he says this, it means that. And right, your spouse is like, come on, let's go. Like they got it. Right. Same thing. So for them to relinquish control, they have to view you as somebody who's capable. For you to be perceived as someone capable, have a process. For you to have a process that's really confident, you're saying, hey, listen, don't do it that way. Do it this way instead. Here's what we're doing. In the specific order we're doing it. Is there any chance for deviations? Yes or no? And then why are we doing it in that order? What are the benefits of it? Why should I care? And that's what the step 3 covers with the offer, where it's in the document, but if you watch the video, I cover it more in depth, where I'm saying this because of this. So this, here's why in this order. And so it becomes much, much more comfortable for people to kind of relinquish control over whatever they thought their previous offer was. So just to summarize, and then I'll see if you have any questions in the last couple of minutes. All we did very quickly was we just went to a website that we found was specialized. Just one website. You can do multiple, because the more you do, the better you'll get an understanding, right? Again, sample size approaches population, statistics become more accurate. So more you view, the better you'll go. Just, you don't need to beat it to a pulp, right? We found out what they're doing. Well, number 1, we looked at the website, what we liked, what we didn't like. Structure the website to be opposite. Number 2, we looked at what they're offering, how they're offering it. We then understood, okay, having a structure, having an order is very important, because you'll be perceived as more intelligent. How do we be antithetical? What did you not like about them, or what are they doing that's poor? You start off, we don't do it that way. We don't like this way. We don't recommend that way because XYZ. Instead, here's what you do. So basically, there's like this old, I'll have to figure out, there's an old Eastern Asian proverb. I can't remember how it goes. But basically it was saying, like, you have to empty your cup to make your own opinion. So basically saying, if you have someone else's opinion in there, you can never make your own true full opinion, because there's bias. So you basically have to empty their cup. You have to say, hey, get rid of everything you thought you knew about that. Here's the way to do it. And the only way for me to convince you to stop doing it a certain way is by telling you why it's wrong, right? Hey, stop eating dog poop off the side of the sidewalk. It's actually really bad for your teeth. It's horrible for your breath. It's making you break out. Not good for your stomach. It's like, oh, okay. You know what? I do have those symptoms, right? Old way bad, and why? What are the symptoms? Oh yeah, I do have those symptoms. I probably should stop doing that. Instead, let's go to a restaurant and eat normal human food. You're going to feel way better. You're going to have nice skin, right? Oh, okay. Like, I didn't know old way was bad, but I have those symptoms, which means what he's saying must be right. So what do I do instead? Oh, he's answering me. Okay, cool. I go here. Wait, why would I go there? Oh, here's why, and here's how it benefits me. That's exactly why the structure starts with old way bad, because you have to get rid of their preconceived notion. And so I'll end up with a very quick story, and then I'll see if we have questions. one of my first jobs, I worked at U-Haul in college, and people would come in. Number one, when you work with moving people or people who are trying to move, never ask them what brings them in. It's always death, someone divorced, spousal abuse. It's like the most depressing conversation you'll ever have. Never ask them. So when they come in, I would say, hey, what are you looking for? And they would say, well, I'm looking for this box. I'm looking for that box. Cool. And what would happen the next day? They never had enough boxes. They had too many boxes. They had the wrong boxes. So I started figuring, and I was working part-time. This is how I became the #1 salesman working part-time. They would come in and I would say, what are you trying to move? Well, I'm moving my daughter. Cool. Is she in college? She's in college. Most college students, because I know my industry now, most college students, they have like those, what is it, like the $5 plates from like Walmart. The box is more expensive than the plates. So get a cheap box, take t-shirts, put it in between the t-shirts, or put it between the plates. If it breaks, but it's going to be cheaper than you buying a dish barrel box for $39. That's a good idea. Well, what do you think about moving the TV? Ah, the TV. That's where you want to spend money because a new TV is this much. So instead, you want to get the TV box, but you don't want any TV box. You got to get the best TV box because again, $50 is cheaper than $250, right? Oh yeah, that makes sense. So I would change their perception. They'd build trust. And then if you wanted to upsell them, it was an easy upsell. And the more honest you were, even if it hurt you money, because I could have sold the dish barrel box, but I'd go with a 99-cent box. Now they come to me. So instead of getting a $39 sale, then I drop down to $1, but then I get the $50 sale. So the $39 average order size went to a $51 order size. So it's the same exact thing. What are you trying to accomplish? Not what do you want? What are you trying to accomplish? Let me, the professional, the guy in the box brown shirt, tell you what to buy. So hopefully that ties it together. And I'm recording, so I'll share the video and you guys can reference it if it helps. But I got about 1 to 2 minutes. Any final questions or items of clarity that I can provide? Does that kind of answer what you were looking for? Or is that like way off the mark?
No, it's helpful. I appreciate it.
Of course. And that's what I want you guys to do. Like when you come to the calls, like the videos, the training, it's very generic. It's like, how can I help the most amount of people based on the feedback I've gotten? The calls, I want you guys to come and say, hey, listen, I'm on this training. Here's my situation. What do I do? Because I don't know if Brian was expecting or not. The advice I gave him was, hey, instead of niching down, take a step back and make content that's niched down and see where that resonates. See what you enjoy the most, see where you make the most money, or see where you get the best case studies. From there, you'll start to have a little feeling in your heart like, hey, you know what? I absolutely love plumbers. Say, well, I didn't see that coming. I really like lawn care. That was for me. For me, it was lawn care. I've never even turned a lawnmower on a day in my life. And I loved working lawn care, right? Maybe it's accountants. Maybe it's roofers. Maybe it's residential contractors. So that's where I say come and ask the questions because everyone's situation and scenario is different. But that's it for today.